everybody, it is Kathy, and I love to be selling. Come on in, sellers. Get settled in. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know about your weather. Let me know if you can hear me. Very hot. I have my water bottle. Very, very hot here in New York City. It's like 90 degrees, like, woo. So, water, water, water. Come on in. And while you're settling in, I will introduce myself. I'm Kathy Terrill, and I am a top rated seller on eBay. I'm selling on eBay for well over 15 years now. Yay! It goes so fast. The first couple of years, you're like, oh, because there's so much to learn. And then it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. I started selling on eBay very small, very casual seller. I needed to be home to take care of my mom. And while I was home, I was looking for a way to bring some income in for my family that was very part time and very flexible. And eBay was the answer for me. Hey, Sharon, how are you? Come on in. Then what happened was after my mom passed, I looked around at my work situation and I said, you know what? I love selling on eBay. And I scaled my business. I'm a full time eBay seller. I am an eBay seller consultant and social media consultant. I was trained by eBay as an eBay education specialist. I work with sellers of all sizes. I have a ton of retail experience. I worked in brick and mortar retail here in New York City for well over 25 years. So a lot of learning there about selling. And then I was on the QVC shopping channel for well over 6 years as a product presenter, all different kinds of products, tons of fun, learned a lot. One thing about QVC, when you're there hours before your presentation time. So you're watching a lot of other presenters, you're getting to know them, and you learn a lot by listening to their sales to see what works, what didn't work. We'd all get together and talk about the products. So fascinating time there. And then selling on eBay and learn so much from all of you. My specialty, there's a lot of great sellers that will give you information about products to sell, and I do that at times. But my specialty is once you have the great product, getting it sold and optimized listing. eBay is not what it was years ago when I first started, where truly you would just take a picture and throw it up and pretty much everything's sold. Also, back then, pretty much everything was in auction. eBay's name before it was eBay was actually Auction Web, in case you didn't know that. Now there's a lot more to writing a listing that'll really pop. There's also a lot more competition. So no matter what category you're in, because people will say to me, oh, well, what category should I get into? There's so many great categories, but there is competition in every category. So you're going to want to write an optimized listing. That means one that will get picked up well by eBay search and by Google search. The reason you want to show up well in search is that way you're easier to be found by shoppers. If shoppers can find you, if you get more eyeballs on your listing, typically your listing will sell faster. Yay! And also will sell for more money. Hey, Dale, super hot. Dale's in Florida. Mary, how are you? Ryan, good to see everybody. Come in. This is what I am talking about today. And I actually heard this in a group. And it was very innocently posted. They were talking about back to school. And if you're not aware of it, because back to school is different depending on where you are in the United States and in the world. And it's definitely a bigger retail event in the United States than other places from what I see. So for instance, here in New York, we typically don't go back to school till after Labor Day. Some of the colleges in August, like freshman things, orientation, particularly not until after Labor Day. Other parts of the country, it's July. Now, because of that, so let's say you live in a part of the country where your schools go back to school late July or early August, then you know that July is a back to school shopping season. But if you're somebody like me in New York, you're going, people aren't really shopping back to school yet. They do it more towards mid-August, late August. Well, as a seller, it's good for me to know that. And that's what actually I brought here my props. Shopping bags. This is Fresh Direct, little food shopping. So shopping bags. and I have my wonderful eBay shopping bag. Thank you, eBay community shopping bags, which is to think like your buyer. And this can get a little challenging sometimes because, again, I know what my circumstances are. I know when my schools go back, or maybe my nearest friends. So let's say I have friends in Chicago, in New York, and maybe I have friends in Indiana. So I'll know when their schools are getting back. But as a seller, I need to remind myself that I'm selling to everybody. I'm selling to all of the United States. And on some supplies, I am selling to all of the world. And particularly this year, because there's a lot of different circumstances going on about how people are handling school. Some schools are going to be quite open, some are not. Some are going to be some online, some in person. Some are all online, some are all in person. And it literally seems like week by week, the different school districts are getting updates. So looking at that, rather than getting confused or just thinking, and this is what this one seller said, they were like, oh, well, back to school is not going to be anything this year because of everything going on. And that is not true. And if you think like that, you're going to lose sales. Is regardless of how the student is getting their education, whether it is online or in person, and don't forget teachers, because teachers do a lot of back to school shopping, is there will be back to school shopping. For instance, I was thinking about one friend because I just saw them post. Their daughter is so excited about their freshman year in college, and they are giving all the freshman classes for this university for the fall semester are going to be online, which means that her daughter will be home. So then you think, well, if they're home, then, yes, they're going to need school supplies. Yes, they're going to need electronics. But dorm supplies, which here in New York, because we have several major universities, are always huge sellers in stores here. But I thought to myself, wait a minute, even if the student is home, the college student, they might still want to decorate their room like it's a college dorm. For instance, if I know that I'm going to be going to college, let's say in North Carolina or South Carolina or here in New York or New Hampshire, I might want to put up a state flag on the wall besides, school flags and things like that. I remember a friend from years ago who sold tons of flags. Flags are extremely popular for dorm room decoration. And sometimes people will put them on their bed, almost use it like as a bedspread kind of thing. So don't forget, yes, back to school is different this year, but there's already data out that it looks to be bigger than ever. And some of it might be a little stress release from shopping. I know one thing I learned, because I actually did retail back to school events in New York City, and they're wild, by the way, where literally the store would close except for students and parents of students for various universities like Columbia and Barnard and NYU, Yeshiva's in New York City, FIT is in New York City. So they would close only to certain schools, students, and parents and give them discounts. Well, they've got hors d'oeuvres going on, beverages and desserts, and they're giving them coupons. And I would watch the parents with the students shop in the stores. And let me tell you, while the parent is shopping for their student, for their college student, they're also shopping for themselves. And I find this very true online. So again, you might think, well, Kathy, I don't really have back to school supplies. I don't really have things that are oriented to like high school or college, more different items. But when the parents are online and they are shopping for their children, they're going to be, oh, let me go look for a shirt for myself. Oh, let me go look for some jewelry for myself. Oh, let me go look for some power tools. So even though the event is back to school, and for instance, like one thing that was always really big for dorm rooms was those, they're like bed risers, because that way you can put storage units underneath the bed, because here in New York, the dorm rooms are small. So maybe you're not selling so many of the bed risers, but I'll bet you anything still the flags are going to sell. The carry things that you put all your toiletries in, because the kids are going to perhaps be at home. They're going to want to be carrying their toiletries into the bathroom. or the kids are in the dorm and they want to be carrying their toiletries. So again, just think, okay, what is still in demand? And even though the rules for your school district, wherever you are, might be online, it may not be in other school districts. And one thing that always sells for back to school is clothing, and clothing for all ages, all types, all different kinds of lifestyles, everything, and things that are more moderate and things that are more expensive. So you may think your clothing item, let's say it's a very high-end luxury item, like this is really not a back to school item. Haha. But don't forget the parents are shopping, and also don't forget aunts and uncles are shopping, the grandparents are shopping. Everybody shops at back to school. So look at your items, and you may not think of them as a traditional back to school item. Back to our shopping bag. So it's not a traditional back to school item, right? It's not necessarily something that somebody would buy for kindergarten, first grade, eighth grade, and don't forget all the grades too. Very different needs for preschool than for junior high, than for high school. Kids that are doing Zooming and schooling at home, and then the kids that are going to be in dorm rooms. Again, it's a huge gamut of items. If you don't know, back to school is a multi-billion, billion, billion dollar shopping event. Think very much like Christmas. It's not just a few crayons, a few Crayolas. My favorite thing, oh, and bonus tip for sellers, because I do this, because we've got a really good Staples near us. I've got to go shopping. Is I pick up my supplies. And if you don't do that, I'm a Sharpie queen. I'm also a Post-it queen. Is I pick up my supplies for the year, typically during back to school. So I get my markers, my pens, my Post-its, anything that you can think of as office supplies. Keep a lookout for good prices on toner, paper. Because again, like my Staples, I don't know if they're going to do it again this year. They did some fill up the bag sales where you got a bag. It was actually pretty much like the size of this. So you got a bag like the size of this, which you bought, I think, like for $1 or something. And anything that you could get in the bag, they gave you a set discount on. So it was sort of like a fill the bag sale. So back to school shopping is a multi-billion-dollar event. I bet my bottom dollar you do have things to feature for back to school. And don't forget, it's a great, great, great time for us sellers, because I'll be out there. I love Sharpies. Also, my grandson loves Sharpies. Got to have some Sharpies in the house for him, to stock up on our supplies. Where, I mean, literally it was like a package of black Sharpies, which I happen to use a lot. Gosh, I think last year, and it was the fine point, which are the ones that I like. It's like a 6-pack, 8-pack, 10-pack. I mean, it was, I'm going to say $4, $5. It was a really, and it was Sharpie brand. It wasn't a knockoff brand. Really, really good prices. So keep an eye out for that. If you need erasers, any kind of office supplies you need. Yes, there's great wholesale places available to us. But the deals that you can get at a lot of, the Staples, the Office Depots, the Walmarts, the Costcos during the back to school season are really, really good. So get to work. I've got a very special guide for you because I did spend over 25 years in brick and mortar retail. I did go to these back to school events. I absolutely know what sells for back to school and for a very broad range of ages because of all the schools that are in New York City. And what I've done is I have put together a freebie guide for you, the ultimate guide to back to school products. And I've got that available to you. So if you hop over to my website, I love to be selling.com, and just scroll down. It's right here in the middle, the ultimate guide to back to school products. This is free. This is absolutely my gift to you. So please, please, please come on the website, come grab it. I mean, I spent hours and hours and hours putting this together so you don't have to. And the other thing is, if you're outsourcing, if you're at retail, of course, with your mask on, if you are at consignment stores, if you are at thrift stores, print this list and throw it in your bag, whatever you carry with you when you are shopping, your shoulder bag, your messenger bag, put it in there. Because again, it will get the brain going. Because again, oftentimes, we'll think back to school, pens, and we don't think of everything. And I have pages and pages and pages of things that absolutely sell for back to school. And you want to keep an eye out for them so that you can source them. Again, it may not be something that I think of buying because it may not be something that I used in school or that my children used in school or that my neighbors use in school, but it's a back to school item. You know what I mean? Other people use it. And that's what we have to think. And oftentimes we'll limit ourselves as sellers because we only know what we know. We only know what we would buy, or we only know about what our friends would buy. And it's good just to look at the whole list and go, oh, sure, yeah, absolutely, that would sell for back to school. And you know what? I think I've got some. I haven't listed it yet. Great. This will get me to go through that pile and get that listed. So jump on over to my website, ilovetobselling.com, and grab that guide. It's absolutely free. I just updated it with some special COVID ideas for you. The ultimate guide to back to school products. Enjoy. Bye-bye.